What up, gang of Lane, Carolina Jackpot Time coming at you. It's July the 4th, 2023. Happy Independence Day to everybody out there. All the subscribers to the Carolina Jackpot channel. Everyone who drops by, leaves a comment, thumbs up, whatever, who's done that all year long. I really appreciate you. Just sitting out here chilling. Had a little bit of a cookout earlier, cleaning up from that. Sitting out here chilling with a Modelo Negro. Nothing like drinking dark Mexican beer and listening to some fireworks to celebrate the birth of the United States of America. But anyway, over the weekend, I was able to pick up the 2023 edition of the Steele magazine. Came out just this past week, and I've got the ACC edition here. As I live in the upstate of South Kakalaki, I wish that this wasn't the one that I was forced to get, but that was the only one that Barnes & Noble had. You see Will Shitley from Clemson here, Mr. 3130, Drake May from North Carolina. Who is this? Jared Verse, Florida State. This kid from Miami, and a player from Penn State here, whose name we're not even going to try to pronounce. Doesn't really make a lot of sense there with that one, with the ACC cover. But at any rate, I just want to get into the nuts and bolts of this magazine, talk about how he has some stuff rated, and also how it pertains to my Gamecocks. As you can hear, there's nothing but fireworks going off in the background, and which is typical for the 4th of July. 350 plus pages here. And Phil Steele, if you've never picked up this magazine before and you haven't bought it, cheap plug for him, and he did not pay me, but I would implore you to spend the $20 at Barnes & Noble, or wherever finer magazines are sold in your area, and pick this up. You won't be able to put it down. And there's no way you can get through everything in it. He covers everything from the 2022 NFL draft, where they went to college, where they were, and how that breaks down. But he really gets into, he deep dives into some stats that you will not find in these other college football magazines that come out a little earlier in the season. That we kind of buy those, kind of really waste $10-12 on each one, be honest with you, and kind of whet our appetites. This is the only one that I go by. But he ranks the individual units for each team in each of the FBS conferences, and it's kind of eye-opening when you're a fan of a certain team, and you're looking at your team, and you're looking at who you're playing, who's in your conference. So let's just kind of get into a little bit of this for the Gamecocks. With the quarterback room, I hate that term, but that's how it's presented nowadays. Quarterback room at South Carolina, individual units, number 7 in the country. That doesn't mean Spencer Rattler is the number 7 quarterback in the country. It means the South Carolina quarterback room, consisting of Spencer Rattler and whoever's backing him up, and whoever's backing him up, and whoever's backing him up, ranks out at number 7 in the country. With Spencer Rattler, Luke Doty, who's got tons of experience there, the young man Lenora Sellers, and a couple of kids that come in as freshmen, I think that's probably pretty accurate. Wide receiver room, South Carolina is ranked at number 21. I happen to think that's too low. I think that Juice Wells is one of, if not the best receivers in the SEC. You also bring back a Marion Brown, the little speedster from Georgia Tech that transferred in a couple years ago. Not a great player, but he's decent. He can do some good things. Eddie Lewis, the kid that came in from Memphis, a pretty decent transfer from what I've seen. Numbers are pretty good there. We'll see. Once again, Xavier Leggett, South Carolina. We'll talk about special teams in a minute. Xavier Leggett actually probably better on special teams than he is as a wide receiver. He needs to hang on to the ball more. That's what his problem is. I think if he were able to do that, that number will probably be elevated a little bit. Your tight ends are also included in that wide receiver deal. South Carolina lost 3 tight ends. after the season last year. They bring in one out of the transfer portal, and Trey Knox. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. Still ranking out at number 21 as far as the wide receivers go. The offensive line for South Carolina, they're not even ranked in the top 68. Not ranked in the top 68 in the country. That's scary, but if you think about it, it's probably legitimate. To put that in perspective, Vanderbilt is ranked number 51. The defensive line, they're not ranked in the top 60, according to Phil Steele. I would expect him to be a little bit higher with the addition of the young man from Syracuse, Jatius Gear, and also with the reemergence of Jordan Strong, kid who led FBS in sacks a couple years ago, had a pretty good season in 2021. You don't have anything to go on here with him, though, so you're pushing out a little bit. Tonka Hemingway, Alex Huntley are good players. Elijah Davis, the kid that came from junior college, another good player. The defensive line will be okay. Linebackers, nobody in the top 67, or you're not ranked in the top 67. Of course, you lost Brad Johnson and Sherrod Green, who were your starters. Mo Kaba, who was also a projected starter / rotation guy that had a really high upside last year, was injured in the Arkansas game, which was game 2. Lost for the season, torn ACL, so you don't have anything to go on there either. Other than that, you're plugging in with a bunch of second and third string guys and freshmen. So once again, concerning from a number standpoint, but knowing what I know about the program and who's coming back, who's coming back, I think they'll be okay here. Now, these guys coming back from being injured, those are, they're kind of like toss-ups. You don't know. Sometimes these people aren't as effective when they come back as they were. And anybody can sit here and say, well, you know, they can come back from torn ACLs and be even better than they was before. That's not necessarily true. Look at Marshawn Lloyd. And I'm not trying to shit on Marshawn Lloyd, but he got injured again last year. Soft, never looked like the person that we thought we were getting out of high school. Now he's at Southern Cal, and they're touting him as the next best thing there. And I'm just wondering why. I mean, what have you seen? Enough about that. I'm not really going to get into that stuff here. I'm not going to really get into a lot of the players that have transferred away from South Carolina and why. I don't really want to talk about them a whole lot. And I really don't. I'm just going to get out here and say it real quick. I don't wish them well. Okay, I don't wish them to have a great career. I hope I don't go wish you, Marshawn. I hope you go out there and you break the Pac-10 touchdown record for a single season. No, I'm not. I'm not going to wish you that. I'm not going to hope that you go out there and hurt your knee again, or that you break a leg or break an ankle or whatever. Your career is over. But I'm not going to wish you the best of luck either. So I hope you don't get hurt. But that's about it. I'm not with these folks. I'm really not going to get into why I don't hope that they have great careers. And anybody who sits here and says that they do, which I mean, that's just Pollyanna bullshit talk, and not for you to bring to this channel. Defensive back, South Carolina's ranked number 22 in the country, which is okay, considering some of the losses back there. They know Clayton White's a good secondary coach. I know Torian Gray is a good secondary position coach, and that unit will be okay. South Carolina special teams ranked number 1 in the country, according to Phil Steele. Number 1 punter, Kai Kroger last year was 4-4, passing the ball through 2 touchdowns. Xavier Leggett, he mentioned how much his punting punt return yardage. Gamecocks blocked 5 kicks last year. That's huge, and that's something that you can use. It's kind of like Tennessee used the gimmick offense as a little bit of an equalizer when you're not as talented as some of the other teams that you face. South Carolina can use some of that special teams as a little bit of a gimmick, as a little bit of an equalizer to kind of draw things in a little bit closer when we face teams that are a little bit more talented than what we are. 86% Phil Steele was, excuse me, I got ahead of myself here. I'm talking numbers before I even taught what we got going on. He's talking about teams with a stronger or a larger strength of schedule than what they faced last year. In other words, the schedule this year is stronger than last year's. Okay, South Carolina appears on that list. They are number 4 on that list as far as this year's schedule being tougher than last year's. And, you'd have to agree. You're playing North Carolina in the non-con instead of South Carolina State. You're playing Tennessee on the road and playing Georgia on the road instead of playing those two teams at home. So that is definitely in the mix. Did you know that 86% of the teams, since he's been tracking this, that have a tougher strength of schedule than they had last year end up with the same or worse record than they had the previous year? That don't exactly bode well, does it? And maybe, lends a little bit of my theory, or a little bit of credibility to my theory that maybe Las Vegas was right when they were talking about the Gamecocks 6.5 win total. And everybody's like, well, that's disrespectful. We're going to win 8 games in our sleep. Maybe not. He always ranks his surprise teams and his most improved teams. The number 1 surprise team this year that he predicts is Wisconsin. Really not that much of a surprise to me. They bring Luke Fickell in as the head coach. You bring in from UNC the offensive coordinator there that Mac Brown has had for the past few years. So that really isn't that much of a surprise. Number 2 surprise team is Texas A&M. Everybody's banging that drum this year. We'll see. They get, mentioned in the playoffs every year, or well, they did until last year. Texas A&M is mentioned as a playoff contender, an SEC West contender, yada, 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 recruiting class this high. Now they're mentioned as the number 1, 2 most improved. We'll see. We'll have to see. The number 1 most improved team, which I guess there's a little bit of difference there between the surprise team and the most improved team, is Texas A&M. Number 2 is Oklahoma. I mean, I guess I can buy that. The top non-Power 5 team that he has for 2023. Surprise. A lot of people would think it's Tulane. It's not. It's UTSA. Watch out, Tennessee. Think you got them in like week 3, don't you? Watch out, Tennessee. That's all I got to say about that. Getting on over into Phil Steele's top 40. Of course, the number 1 team in the land that he ranks is UGA. The number 2 kind of surprised me a little bit. It's Clemson. I'm not buying that one. I'm just going to sit here and tell you I'm not buying them as being the number 2 team in the country. I don't give a damn what he says. I do put a lot of stock in his opinion, but I happen to think that he's wrong here. I mean, their offense, I just don't think that all that can be corrected in 1 year. I really don't. FSU, who everybody is slobbing on the knob of, he has ranked at number 8. He has Texas, who everybody's also slobbing on the knob of, at number 11 in the country going into 2023. And the Gamecocks, he has at number 31. So they didn't crack the top 25. Best teams in each conference winners that he predicts here. In the SEC West, he has Alabama. In the East, he picks Georgia. So he thinks that Alabama, despite the quarterback problems and everything that you all say, that Nick Saban doesn't have it anymore and the schedule's too tough and he just this and that. He's still, he's got them at number 1. And I'm not an Alabama apologist, but an Alabama fan. I don't care. But I just happen to think that it's a little bit, deja vu, I guess. In the ACC, he picked Clemson over FSU. Not sure whether I'm happy about that or whether I'm mad about it. I don't like Clemson to have success on the football field. Obviously, you know that. But over the years, I've kind of accepted the fact that it's going to happen. But if it's anybody that they could hold down, and it being Florida State, I'll take that. And if anybody wants to know why I don't like Florida State, just go look at their roster. That's why I don't like Florida State. I don't like their coach. I don't like Mike Norvell. I think he does a little bit of tampering behind the scenes, which is fucking illegal, and you're not supposed to do it. Big Ten-wise, Big Ten-wise, in the East, Phil Steele picks Michigan. In the West, he picks Wisconsin. Not a big surprise there. Not a lot to choose from in the West, to be perfectly honest with you. The gap between the East and the West in the Big Ten is just absolutely monstrous. It really is. Big 12, which obviously only has one division. Of course, number one, he picks Texas. His number 2 team in the Big 12 is Oklahoma. And in the Pac-12, his number 1 team, USC Junior, and his number 2 team is Utah. Also, if you're wondering, Deion Sanders' Colorado team, he picks at number 11 in the Pac-12. So they're number 11 out of 12. The number 12 team is Stanford. Colorado plays Stanford in like week 4 or something. So I guess Phil is thinking that Colorado will get a win over them. So maybe they don't go winless in the Pac-12. I don't think they're going to be very good. There is no way that you can get players from that many different schools together like that to mesh and be a cohesive unit and win more than just a few ball games. Man, it's just not happening. He just doesn't have the talent. Not saying he ain't going to get it, but right now he just does not have the talent. So that's my review of the 2023 Phil Steele magazine. So far, like I said, 350 pages. I've maybe been through 60 of them. I've read about South Carolina. I've read about Clemson. I've read about the SEC teams. I've read about a few of the teams that I'm interested in. But other than that, I really have not done the deep dive into this thing. If you're going to do a deep dive into this sucker, you better put your air tank and your swimmies on, because it is a hell of a ride. I'm going to tell you, I love this thing. I really dig it. It's in my wheelhouse, and I recommend that anybody who's a college football fan go out there and get yourself a copy, even if you have to, even if you have to prostitute yourself or something to get the $20. I would still do it. And make sure that you reference that whenever you're talking to me about something here in the future on the channel. Anyway, we'll be back at tomorrow night with another live show. I appreciate everyone who watches the videos. Give us a thumbs up. The Callaway's College Football Season Pick'em Challenge will be coming up this season. Remember, we had that $20 entry fee last year, and we started taking money up about a season before the season started, about a month or so, and really got a lot of people in there. There was a whole lot of interest in it. And this year we want it to be more interactive, since we're doing our podcast recording with the StreamYard link. So it's really going to be fun this year. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you guys later on. Appreciate it. Peace. And I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Go Stupid Sunglasses Guy. Go Spencer Rattler. And I'll see y'all later.